BenQ. They finally did it. Welcome back to the channel. So for all the people that have been asking for so long, BenQ, they finally delivered. They actually delivered a brand new glossy monitor for an incredible cost. Okay, introducing right in front of you here, this is the BenQ MA270UP. The P at the end is the important part. This is going to be a nano glass monitor for MacBooks, all right? Now, it's not just for MacBooks, it's for Macs of all kinds, like maybe your M4 Mac Mini or your Mac Studio, but it's an incredible brand new monitor, and it's about only 1/3 the cost of the Studio Display. Okay, so just in case you noticed already, this monitor here is the glossy version of a monitor that BenQ came out with a little while ago, right? So a little while ago, BenQ came out with a monitor that was actually called the MA270U. That was a 27-inch. They also came out with an MA320U, which was a 32-inch matte screen. I actually did a video on it right here. Check out this video if you want to see all the details about that. But that was the matte version. Now we actually have a glossy version. So the glossy version I'm reviewing today, again, is the MA270U with a P at the end of it. So the P designates glossy. I'm not sure why they didn't do a G. You can get it right now. It's available right now. I'll have the link in the description. They're also coming out with a 32-inch glossy as well. And I don't know if it's available yet. If it is, I'll have it in the description, depending on when you're watching this. But I'm also, this is the 27-inch, but they should have a 32 as well eventually. So really, really cool. So at the end of the day, if you really want to get a monitor like this that's full glossy, and I love this thing, I'm going to tell you why. For about 1/3 or about $550 versus about $1,500 for the Studio Display, you may want to watch this. Okay, first of all, let's talk about why you may want to pick one of these up, some of the pros here. This thing's phenomenal with the color matching, right? Also the glossy screen, which we're going to talk about text clarity as well. But first of all, color matching. They have something called an M-Book mode, which actually is designated on this monitor. You can set it to that, and it's going to completely match the colors of your MacBook, all right? So I'm going to show you some examples as I'm talking about this, but it's phenomenal. Out of all of the monitors I've tested, this is a simply plug and play. I actually have a USB-C cable coming in and plugging into there, and it instantly went to M-Book mode, and everything is flawless, exactly the same, all right? So the colors pop, the thing gets very, very bright. I'll talk about that. But overall, the colors, you never have to worry about adjusting things. It's one of the best clarity monitors, or the best clear monitors I've ever seen when I actually took a quick look at it with the gloss screen here that I've ever tested, all right? So I just want to tell you that the color matching with the M-Book mode is incredible. All right, let me just explain my test setup. The monitor is sitting right here, but I'm going to be showing you pictures of it. It's hard to put it in front of me. Anyways, I have actually this monitor connected with the USB-C cable they gave me into my M2 MacBook Air over here, and it's just phenomenal. So BenQ does an incredible job. First of all, let me just say this. Everyone complains about 4K on Macs, all right? You need 5K, everyone says, to have perfect kind of text clarity and the sharpness of the text. I don't know what they do here on BenQ. I have absolutely no idea what they do, but the text clarity, and I'm going to show you the resolution here in a second, is top notch. In fact, it's so good with the clarity of the gloss here that I'm going to be replacing my Asus 5K over there for editing, because you get a ton of real estate and the text clarity is just unbelievably off the charts. I don't know how they do it. I've tested a lot of 4Ks. Here it almost looks, it looks like 5K. I'm going to be honest, with the resolution and setup I have. Again, if you have an older Mac or something, it may be completely different. So I'm going to show you here in a second, but it's really, really good. Okay, if you look at my screen here, here's the BenQ monitor, the MA270UP. You can see in here, if you click this little button, it's going to give you all the resolutions connecting to my M2 MacBook Air. And up here, look at this. I selected this one. These things designate low resolutions, and this one wasn't one. It was 3008 by 1692. It's a crazy resolution. It gave me it from this MacBook. But the clarity of this thing, the text is just crystal sharp. It's hard to explain. You can't convey that in a video like this, but I'm telling you, it's as sharp as my 5K. I just don't know how BenQ can do this, all right? Now, these low resolutions you don't want to select, but even 1440p is going to be phenomenal on here. But this upper resolution here, because if you go to full 4K, the text is going to be too small. But at this resolution right here, it's just really good. And in fact, when you actually do things like adding, let's say you want to browse the web or something, take a look here. The text is very clear again, but it just gives you a massive amount of real estate on your screen. You can actually have like 3 different screens open. I'll show you some examples of that at once on here at this resolution, but the text is still big enough to actually use it, and I'm kind of shocked by that. Usually it's not. At that resolution, it totally is. I mean, things like video editing, take a look over here. You just have so much real estate in here, and everything is just crystal clear. I mean, obviously you can open, if you don't need that much, you can kind of shrink this. You can put this over here. You just have a lot of real estate, and that's what I like about this. So obviously, if you won't have as much if you go to 1440p, but at that resolution, I'm telling you, it's the best monitor I've ever tested. I keep saying this, but it is. I mean, even working on things like this is going to be a Pages document, just a sample, but you can see how much of the screen it takes up. So you could easily have this over to the side here and have either one or two other windows open at the same time. And like I said, I can see all of the menus clearly up here. I don't know if you can see this. It's very sharp, and it's very clear and big enough to see. That's incredible, all right? Now again, your setup might be different than mine. I'm using an M2 MacBook Air. If you use an older Mac, you may not get all these resolutions that I showed you here. But this is the one I would say try. And if you have, if it's too small for you, then go to 1440p. It still works great there as well. Okay, for all the technical people, let's just go through some technical specs here. All right, so the monitor is actually going to be 27-inch 4K, like I explained. It's 3820 by 2160, and also has 95% DCI P3 wide color gamut and 99% sRGB, all right? Obviously, those are technical terms, but people like to know them. It also has VISA display HDR 400. Again, it doesn't really get probably bright enough to do full HDR. Of course, everyone says that when it's these kind of monitors, but it doesn't matter because I'm telling you this thing's that good, all right? It also has plenty of brightness for me. It's up to 450 nits. When I use it at about 20% of the actual 100% in my room here. I have a little bit darker room, but 20%, it goes off the charts on brightness. It says 450, but it seems even brighter. Okay, one thing to note too, though, this is not a gaming monitor, so it is only 60 hertz. People may complain about that, but when I do my creative work and stuff, and I've been using it now for a while, I don't even notice it. It does it really well. So at the end of the day, obviously it could be a deal breaker for some people, but trust me, test this monitor because obviously the studio display is 60 hertz as well, and this is 1/3 the cost. All right, so the monitor does have different color settings, but trust me, just leave it at the M-Book mode if you're a Mac user. It's really good there. It also has things like Brightness Intelligence Plus Gen 2, low light mode, so basically a low blue light mode, which actually helps with eye strain. You can turn that on if you want to as well. I don't use that though. It's also got TUV or TUV certification and other settings to help your eye strain. They're all built into this monitor, and they do work really well. But again, I just turn that stuff off. I know people like that in some cases. It's there if you need it. Okay, the contrast on this is 1200 to 1. I notice really deep blacks, and the screen uniformity is one of the best I've tested in this price range for sure. I'll show you some samples. It's very difficult to show you with a glossy screen because you are getting some reflections off of it, so it's hard to show you exactly how black it is. But trust me, it is really good. Screen uniformity, I don't have a lot of bleeding on the outside or anything like that. I actually think it is better than a studio display I tested as far as the bleeding, so they do a good job there. Also, viewing angles, as you kind of move around the monitor, it stays very clear and stays very bright. So for all it's worth, I just wanted to report that as well. Okay, at the end of the day, I'm going to try to convey it one last time here with some images and some video here, but it's really hard to convey how good a monitor looks just through another video, right? Because you might be watching this in 1080p for all we know, right? So it's very difficult to show you this, but I recommend just getting one of these things and testing it on your Mac. You will be shocked how good it is, all right? Text clarity is what really has me shocked. It is a beautiful picture. Colors are great. It's very clear, but it's the text clarity on a 4K screen for a Mac that's got me kind of shaking my head. How did they actually do it? And let me just say one thing really quickly. This is, as you'll see, a paid posting, but I've done stuff with BenQ for a long time now. I loved all of their monitors, but this is the one monitor, like I'm going to be replacing my 5K Asus over there because it's that good. I get more real estate. Everything's cleared on here, sharper than I even think on the 4K because that's a matte screen over there. I don't know what it is, but you have to try this monitor. All right, so build quality and design. It's a very minimal design here. Take a look at it. I'll show you some pictures. I mean, the bezels aren't the thinnest, but they're not that thick either. Take, from the very front of it, but they're all black around. So the monitor is black on the front. And the very front over here, there's one little logo that says BenQ, but it's black on black, so you can't even see it from a distance. So it's very muted, right? And I like that. It's just black and silver. The back of it's going to be a silver color. I'll show that to you as well. It's not metal. It's going to be a plastic back on the monitor. Now the stand is actually kind of metal wrapped in plastic as well, but it's a nice color, a nice aesthetic, especially, a lot of times you're going to have this against the wall or something. So for all it's worth, it doesn't really matter. But from the front of it, it looks really, really good, right? And on the very front of it over here, there's a pad that they actually put on here. You can lay like SSDs on there or lay your MacBook on it just to kind of like rest something on it if you want to. Nice little touch there. That's really cool as well. But overall, I think it's a good build quality for the price. Obviously, it's not going to be like a studio display all aluminum, but pretty good. Also the stand here, if you take a quick picture of me doing this, you can move it up and down, all right? You can move it left and right. You can move it kind of forward and backwards. And then also after you do all of that stuff, you can go ahead and you can flip it all the way into portrait mode if you want to. And there's like an auto sensing feature in the software on this thing. It'll actually auto switch for you. So really cool if you do that. If you like portrait mode as well, it can auto rotate for you and actually go into that orientation. Okay, let's talk about the ports now, right? So on the very back of it, take a look here. It's got 2 HDMI ports, 1 USB-A port, and then 2 USB-C ports. One of the USB-C ports is actually for your monitor, for your actual computer, to plug into the monitor, and that'll actually charge your MacBook at 90 watts. The second port there is another charging port. Let me see if I can get the data on this. I think the other one's like around 15 watts or so. So obviously you can charge other devices like maybe an iPad or something, but your main one that you actually plug into the MacBook or maybe even a Mac Mini, although it wouldn't charge that, but over here it's going to be at 90 watts. So your MacBook is always going to stay charged there, and that's what's on the back. But I recommend for the example I showed you here, use the USB-C cable. Try to get that resolution I showed you because that's so clear for me, and tell me what you guys think in the comments. You know, obviously everyone's going to be a little bit different on the size of the text and stuff, but I'm just kind of giving you my setup so you can try it as well. And then on the very bottom of it, on the very bottom of the monitor, there's a couple other ports. They have one more USB-A port. They have a headphone jack down there as well. And then they actually have a couple buttons. They have an on and off button, and they have kind of a button to kind of move through the settings on the monitor, the very simplistic way. There's also some software, which we're going to talk about, that's more advanced, that lets you do a lot more. Okay, in the box, they give you a USB-C cable. They also give you an HDMI cable. I recommend the USB-C cable. And then they actually just give you a power cord. So there is no power brick. The actual power supply is built into the monitor, which is a nice feature. No power brick on the floor. And, for the cost, you can't complain there. Now the monitor does have built-in speakers underneath here, and I think they're like 2 times 3 watt speakers. And just like a lot of these monitors, this one's slightly better, but it's not something that you're going to want to, listen to your best music with and stuff. Definitely get external speakers. Obviously, it's not as good as a studio display, but again, we're talking price point here. It's something you need in a pinch. They have it. Okay, another thing that's really good on this monitor here is the software that they allow you to download so you can control the monitor. And hear me out for a second. There's software, it's called Display Pilot 2, and I'll show you a picture of it here from their website. You go ahead and easily just download that and bring it to your computer, and then instantly you have control to basically make changes to the monitor from your MacBook over here or from a keyboard. So it works just like a studio display, but you even get more options there. So let me just show you. Okay, so here's the software once it's loaded. You can see my monitor, MA270UP. The P stands for Glossy. This allows you to change the audio right from here, right from the monitor. You can also go in here and change the brightness right from this little slider here. And you may not see that, but it gets really bright, trust me. So you can do the brightness right on here. You can also go, let me just see, you can change the resolution of it. Here's the resolution that I recommend if you can actually get this, and it works flawlessly. But anyways, there it is right there. I can change this if I want by sliding this bar. I can also change the built-in resolution, which is from my M2 MacBook Air over there. It shows the resolution here, and I can change that actually from this thing as well, which is really cool since that's what it's connecting to. Then down here, there's some other things like the low blue light thing. You can click here and it'll actually turn that on. There's also screen partition. It's something where you can kind of fuse screens together, and Mac already kind of has that built in, so I wasn't using that. It's got focus sync. It basically will sync off of your Mac focus, whatever you're focused on. It can change settings for you as well. There's a whole bunch of different features built into this thing, and it's all from this. Really, really cool. All right, one thing to note too is you have your input down here as well. You can change input, but if you go up here, there's 3 little dots up here. Click on this. It's going to give you some more options here. So first thing is preferences, and you can go ahead and click on any of this stuff to kind of add little features into this box over here. So by doing that, this is the preferences. But under advanced here, take a look at this. It gives you a whole bunch of other settings in here. Language, resolution notice, display mode, power, auto power off. You can go through, I'm not going to go through all these right now, but you can turn them on and off like this, and you can really customize the menu system through here and also all the different settings of the monitor. You don't have to do it through basically the bottom of the monitor, which is a huge pain. You can simply just do it through this. But the main thing is the brightness, right, and the volume. And when you have this installed, you can use the keys on your Mac as well to adjust brightness and adjust volume. It works flawlessly. So all of that stuff usually isn't available in monitors like this, except if they're Apple monitors, but this has it. Okay, so at the end of the day, what do I think about this? I think you already know. I think for the money, this is the first monitor for around $550, besides the studio display, that reminds me that I'm using an Apple device, all right? It seems so close to it. Text clarity, obviously the color matching, the clarity of the images, watching YouTube and videos and things like that. I'll show you some examples of that. Just off the charts as far as clarity. So I really do like this monitor. I don't think there's anything close to this. Of course, there's less expensive versions out there of different 4K monitors. Some of them are only $200. You won't usually be happy with those because of the matte screen, because of the clarity of the text. I know that everyone thinks you need 5K to scale right in either in 5K or 20, obviously, or 1440p. But for some magic that they've done here in the resolution I'm using, it's ultra sharp, the text, and even obviously 1440p is as well. Brightness is high, so they've actually nailed it here. And again, this is obviously a sponsored video. I've done a whole bunch of videos for them. I love their monitors. But I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to throw myself out there saying, you definitely trust me on this one. I think out of all the products that I've ever reviewed on my channel, this is probably the best one that's worked just flawlessly for me without any headaches, connecting, clarity, text visual, and even replacing my Asus over there. I think I'm going to replace it with this one because of the screen real estate. So I'm not joking here. You can always check them out. If you don't like it, you don't trust me, you can return them. Overall, I say check them out. All right, so I'm going to have a link in the video description, obviously, so you can do some more research on the 27-inch. That's available right now on the Glossy. The 32-inch may or may not be, depending when you watch this. But if it is, I'll have a link in there as well. But it should be coming soon. But like I said, I'm really excited if you haven't noticed about this monitor. I mean, it's easy to say, you get excited about a lot of products and stuff. But I can say that of all the products, like I said, I've tested, this is going to be one of the top ones because now we can all afford a monitor that works really well with Macs and we don't have to spend $1,500, $1,600. So anyways, you guys can give it a try. Post in the comments what you think, but I love it. We'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.